For us to enjoy satisfying relationship, communication is the second C. We got to communicate. Now, the only species that God created that gives us the gift of speech is human beings. Right? And why did he do that? Because it's vital to our core existence. It's vital to our connection, our collaboration. Is vital to our well-being. And so the second is communication. Look at what the Bible says. Proverbs 13:17. Proverbs 13:17. Let's say that together. It says what? Reliable communication, that's what permits progress. Notice the word progress. So how can you have progress in your relationships? Reliable what? Communication, effective communication. So in other words, for progress to take place in your marriage, in your friendships, in your family, among your co-workers, among your siblings, in your community, there has to be, second C, communication. We got to talk to each other. Now, here's the problem with this also. You see, the average couple talks to each other about 4 times in a day. It goes like this. We're walking out the door, we say a brief hello, have a good day. When we come back from home, we say hello, welcome home. And then in between the day, there's quick messages going back and forth about chores and tasks. Pick up this on the way home. Do this. Don't forget to take the trash out. Don't forget to start the laundry, or put something take something from the freezer and put it outside. Just tasks, chores, responsibilities. Not really much communication going on. But God is saying, He says, it's not just what we say. That communication has to be no, it has to be effective. And one of the reasons this happens is we are hurried. We are hurried. Now I've got to raise my hand and say, yes, there's been seasons in my life where I've got so many balls in the air, and so everything just goes out when it comes to communication. And boy, what happens is your relationships suffer, right? You say, I'm too busy. I'm going to school. I got this job to do. I'm trying to build a home. I'm trying to really save a lot of money for retirement. And we get torn apart pursuing our goals. And what happens is the lights go down on our relationship, and it suffers. Reliable communication is the key to drive satisfying and lasting relationships. And the reason it's important is because as men and women, we communicate differently. Do you believe that? Now, you didn't think that was so when you were dating. Right? Saw this lady or this guy, and it's like you agreed with everything they said. You agreed with everything, and then you realize, oh my gosh, what I get myself into? They are so different. They think differently. They communicate differently. They respond differently. And that's the need for us to communicate. If you've lived together for some time, communication even gets more harder. Because you know the person you've lived together for all this time. And so you got to learn a skill to communicate more, because you feel like, well, everything is predictable. Everything is, I know what to do. I know what he has to do, she has to do. And so we are just basically on autopilot. But that doesn't nurture the relationship when things are on autopilot, right? When you've got your chores, this person washes the car, gets the gas, do the laundry, cooks the meals, does this, take the kids to school, right? And then when the kids leave and they go out into their own world, well, guess what? Life revolves around the kids, picking them up, getting them ready for school, picking them up from school, and so forth. And so we got to do this, and so forth, and so on. And then now, like two of you are like literally looking at each other like strangers. There's no communication that has been nurtured in our relationship. And one of the key reasons that relationships break down is because, we think as humans that because we are married, or because we are on the job with our co-workers on the same agenda of the company, or because we are in the same family as brothers and sisters or siblings, we ought to think alike. That's further from the truth, isn't that? Even twins, identical twins, don't think alike. No two people think alike. No two people think alike. Men and women think and process things differently. Two guys, two ladies think and process things differently. That's the way God made us. That's the need for us to communicate so that we can understand where we are all coming from and respond and engage and interact in ways that we can come together. Effective, reliable communication permits progress. Now, technology can help a little bit, but that's not the answer, right? So every now and then, because of distance, we can text. It helps us to a small amount. But the key to enhancing relationship is that physical, verbal communication. There's a story of a married couple who had a quarrel, and they were basically giving each other the silent treatment. You know what happens when somebody really gets you mad and you just don't want to say anything? You see them coming, you just basically try minding your own business. And so 2 days into this mute agreement, you say, everybody just stay where you are. I don't want to deal with you. You don't deal with me. The man realized that, man, I'm really going to need the man's help. This is before, before alarms came up and so forth. And he needed to catch a flight to Chicago for business. So he wrote a note to his wife, right, put it right by the bedside. It says, please wake me up at 5 a.m. so I can catch my flight. So he goes to sleep, wakes up at 9 a.m., flight is gone, missed his business meeting, mad as heck as he can think of, thinking, why in the world would she do this to me? I know we are not talking, but she knows I really got to go to this business meeting. So he turns around and looks at his side of the bed on the nightstand. There's a note saying, it's 5 a.m., wake up. So text, you say, well, we text all the time. I mean, we text all the time. But my brother, my sister, nothing beats that verbal communication, because as humans, we respond to that warmth, right? We respond to that connection that you can get from a text message. Now, granted, there are times that we have to be separate. If you want to do, if you want to do the, texting thing when you are apart, maybe try FaceTime. There are technologies that can help with that, for couples particularly. You can do Zoom, you can do Skype, and just get that video turned on so you can see each other. Something happens when you really are communicating with a human being and you can see the facial gestures. It really brings you together. Now, let me give you some benefits of why this is important, why effective communication brings progress in a relationship. See, the first is this, that it shows value. It promotes respect for one another. How many of you know that respect really enhances relationship? When you are respected in a relationship, you feel good about it, right? If you are disrespected in a relationship, it's really wearing down. It will kill the relationship faster than anything. So how do we feel valued and respected in a relationship? By talking to each other, by listening to another's words. How many of you have felt needed, valued when you were listened to? You had something to say and somebody took the time to listen to you and to respond to you. You're having a discussion with someone and they really paid attention to you. You feel respected. You feel valued. Even if we disagree with people, we still need to admire their thoughts and feelings of that individual. And what it does is it builds connection and enhances the relationship, right? Perhaps the reason you chose this person as your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your husband, your wife is because you had a great time talking to them, right? You are just jabbering on and off, and they allow you to finish your sentence. They allowed you to convey your thoughts, your ideas, the things that were important to you, and you just understood each other, and you went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So effective relationship shows value and respect, and that's what enhances a relationship. Secondly, effective communications help us understand each other. We are not mind readers. I don't care what somebody says that, I can read a mind. I can see what anyone is thinking. I'm not God. You're not God. You cannot demise what someone is thinking. You can even demise what you're thinking and why you do some things that you do. I mean, how much more try to figure out what your spouse your customer, your clients, your brother, your sister, your neighbor, your friends are. And when we communicate verbally, what it does is it helps us understand each other. And how many of you know that when we are understood, it drives relationship. When we communicate, it fights against second guessing, mind reading, which really prevents a lot of frequent fighting, because we fight with each other even in relationships when we don't understand each other. We don't know why things are happening the way they are, and we try to figure it out on our own. It causes a lot of conflict and tension. So it's important that we communicate. It's a great way to build relationship, because it shows we are needed. It shows that our spouses, our friends, our family members, our co-workers, really we have high regard for them. It enhances understanding. Thirdly, also what? It makes us approachable. If somebody opens up to you verbally, what are they doing? They're telling you that I'm approachable. If somebody is muted all the time, after a while it's like, well, they really don't need me, and so I better not approach them. Is that clear? Right? I mean, if you have somebody who's just they don't talk. They just come in, they sit down, they fold their arms, they don't say anything. They come to your house, they don't say anything. What are you going to do after a while? When you say, hi, how are you doing? How's work? How's family? You know, how did you make it? How was the journey here? And it's like, What are they telling you? They're telling you, I'm not approachable. I don't want to deal with you. I don't want to talk. I don't want to engage. And so what do? After a while, you just basically fold and leave them alone. Now, that doesn't build relationship, does it? And so communication makes us what? Approachable. It opens ourselves for people to get into our world, and that's a key ingredient of enhancing relationships. Healthy relationships are based on these. Reliable, effective communication permits progress. Say, Pastor Mike, you don't understand. We can get along with each other. Well, start talking to each other. After a while, you're going to realize that, okay, now I understand where you are. I understand how you feel. I know how your day is going. I know your struggles. I know your excitement. I know your goals, your ambition, the things that really drives you in life. And so now I can relate to you a little bit more. Let me give you a few practical ways to improve our communication. Right, practical ways. Now, see if you agree with some of these. Let's read that together. He says, whatever you have to say, do what? Say it with what? Love. The Bible says, speak the truth in love. Now, we all should try to make sure that when we are saying something, particularly with difficult subjects, we do that with what? Gentleness and tenderness. Words can hurt people. Words can destroy relationships. Do you believe that? And so when we have something difficult to say to promote relationships, we have to what? Say it with love. And so it's not what we say, but how we say it that matters. We can say the same thing, but one can be received very well, and the other can create conflict. How we say it. Honesty without gentleness is brutal. Say that with me. Honesty without gentleness is what? Brutal. That doesn't bring progress in relationships. Secondly, also, see if you agree with this. We can improve communication in our relationships is what? Understand this. People are not what? Mind readers. So speak out. I'm not a mind reader. You say, well, Pastor Mike should see what's going on. Pastor Mike should see what's going on. But what I see is not what you see. And so if you've got something to say to me, say it. Something to say to your child, your spouse, your customers, your boss, your co-workers, your siblings. Say it. Reliable communication permits progress. And the reason is that most people cannot pick up on nonverbal hints. You say, well, I saw the look on their face and I knew what they meant. Maybe they were sick. That's why their face looked that way. They were not trying to say anything. You know, maybe they just had a bad day. You say, I saw the look on their face. They are so mean. They are so mad. They just didn't like what we're saying. No, you have no clue what's going on in their life. Maybe they just got a text message. A bad text message, and they are just saying, my gosh, how am I going to do this? Maybe they have a bill they can pay, right? So most people cannot pick up on hints. Even those who think they can read minds are often wrong. 95% of the time, mind readers are wrong. I see mostly the guys here who are nodding. So please, we ought to what? Speak out our thoughts so that we can be honest. The third is to see if you agree with that. That when we communicate, we've got to try to be as what? Positive as possible. Now, it's important, right? Because if we are always talking about problems all the time, people will tune us out. Do you have people in your life who every time you meet them, they're talking about problems? Talking about mom, your dad, their job, their health, their finances, the economy, the government, COVID, life is bad, horrible. It's like, really? You woke up this morning? And I know you're going through a hard time, but when we are all driven towards talking all the time to our friends, our co-workers, our spouses, our children, our siblings about problems all the time. Not that we don't have any problems, legitimate, we have problems, but guess what? You know, in our communications, we have to try to balance it out and not be negative all the time. People don't want to be around negative people. Do you agree with that all the time? Does anyone disagree with what I'm saying? Even when your kids are coming to you all the time and they're being negative all the time, even just a toddler. And every day it's problem. Dad, mom. So after a while, you're going to show them a lesson too. You have a lot going on in your life. You quit complaining and whining and look at the better side of life, right? Let me give you a last one, see if you agree with that. All right? So whatever we have to say it with love. I mean, people are not mind readers, and so we have to speak out our thoughts. You know, be as positive as we can. Yes, there are days that we are down, that we need to really talk about how frustrated, how mad, how sad, how angry we are. Yes, but that also has to be balanced with some positivity in our communication. Here's another one. See if you agree with that. In really driving effective relationship, that progressive relationship, we've got to create an atmosphere of what? Open communication. When people are not comfortable to come talk to us, when we are not approachable, guess what? It closes us out and it hurts the relationship. So we've got to do the best we can, all of us, in all our relationship with our customers, with our coworkers, with our bosses, with our friends, with our neighbors, with our spouses, with our children. Create an environment where people feel like they can come and talk to us about something. When somebody feels that way, your relationships are healthy, are strong. Right? You feel, I can't talk to my husband about it. I can talk to my wife about it. I can't talk to my friend. I just can't talk to mom about this. I can talk to my. This is a subject that we don't breathe. Well, you can tap around certain issues, but the goal here is to do the best you can, moving the lever one step forward to say, let me do what I can on my part to open myself up so that someone feels like they can really come talk to me about even their shame, their challenges, their weaknesses, their past struggles and so forth, including their successes. When you do that, it drives relationships. So effective communication, my brother, my sister, that's what drives relationship. First is commitment. Second is what? Communication.